Create a pivot table. 1. Select the table or cells including column headers containing the data you want to use. 2. From the Insert tab, click the Pivot Table command. 3. The Create Pivot Table dialog box will appear. Make sure the settings are correct and then click OK. 4. A blank pivot table will appear on the left and the field list will appear on the right. To add fields to the pivot table. Now you'll need to decide which fields to add to the pivot table. Each field is simply a column header from the source data. It may be helpful to recall the question that you're trying to answer. In this example, we want to know the total amount sold by each salesperson. So we'll just need the order amount and salesperson fields. 1. In the field list, place a check mark next to each field you want to add. 2. The selected fields will be added to one of the 4 areas below the field list. In this example, the salesperson field is added to the row labels area and the order amount is added to the values area. If a field is not in the desired area, you can drag it to a different one. 3. The pivot table now shows the amount sold by each salesperson. Just like the normal spreadsheet data, you can sort the data in a pivot table using the Sort and Filter command in the Home tab. You can also apply any type of formatting that you want. For example, you may want to change the number format to currency. However, be aware that some types of formatting may disappear when you modify the pivot table. Pivoting data. One of the best things about pivot tables is that they let you pivot the data in order to look at it in a different way. This allows you to answer multiple questions and even experiment with the data to learn new things about it. In our example, we use the pivot table to answer the question, what is the total amount sold by each salesperson? But now, we'd like to answer a new question such as, what is the total amount sold each month? We can do this by simply changing the row labels. To change the row labels, 1. Drag any existing fields out of the row labels area and they will disappear. 2. Drag a new field from the field list into the row labels area. In this example, we're using the month field. 3. The pivot table will adjust to show the new data. In this example, it now shows us the total order amount for each month. To add column labels. So far, our pivot table has only shown one column of data at a time. In order to show multiple columns, you'll need to add column labels. 1. Drag a field from the field list into the column labels area. In this example, we're using the region field. 2. The pivot table will now have multiple columns. In this example, there is a column for each region. Report filters. Sometimes you may want focus on just a portion of the data and filter out everything else. In our example, we are going to focus on certain salespeople to see how they affect the total sales. Report filters. Sometimes you may want focus on just a portion of the data and filter out everything else. In our example, we are going to focus on certain salespeople to see how they affect the total sales. To add a report filter, 1. Drag a field from the field list into the report filter area. In this example, we're using the salesperson field. 2. The report filter appears above the pivot table. Click the drop-down arrow on the right side of the filter to view the list of items. 3. Select the item that you wish to view. If you want to select more than one item, place a check mark next to the Select Multiple Items. Then click OK. In the example below, we're selecting 2 salespeople. 4. Click OK. The pivot table will adjust to reflect the changes. Slicers. Slicers were introduced in Microsoft Excel 2010 to make filtering data easier and more interactive. They're basically just report filters, but they're more interactive and faster to use, as they let you quickly select items and instantly see the result. If you filter your pivot tables a lot, you might want to use slicers instead of report filters. To add a slicer, 1. Select any cell in your pivot table. The Options tab will appear on the ribbon. 2. From the Options tab, click the Insert Slicer command. A dialog box will appear. 3. Select the desired field. In this example, we will select Salesperson. Then click OK. 4. The slicer will appear next to the pivot table. Each item that is selected will be highlighted in blue. In the example below, the slicer contains a list of all of the different salespeople are currently selected using the slicer. Just like with report filters, only the selected items are used in the pivot table. When you select or deselect items, the pivot table will instantly reflect the changes. Try selecting different items to see how they affect the pivot table. To select a single item, just click on it. To select multiple items, hold down the Control key on your keyboard and then click on each item that you want. You can also select multiple items by clicking and dragging the mouse. This is useful if the desired items are adjacent to one another or if you want to select all of the items. To deselect an item, hold down the Control key on your keyboard and then click on the item. Pivot charts. Pivot charts are like regular charts, except they display data from a pivot table. As with a regular chart, you'll be able to select a chart type, layout, and style to best represent the data. In this example, we'll use a pivot chart so we can visualize the trends in each sales region. To create a pivot chart. 1. Select any cell in your pivot table. The Options tab will appear in the ribbon. 2. From the Options tab, click the Pivot Chart command. 3. From the dialog box, select the desired chart type, 3D clustered column, for example, and click OK. 4. The pivot chart will appear in the worksheet. If you want, you can move it by clicking and dragging. If you make any changes to the pivot table, the pivot chart will adjust automatically. Using what-if analysis. Imagine you're trying to solve a complicated problem with Microsoft Excel 2010. For example, you might need to calculate an unknown value. You could try solving it on your own, plugging in different numbers until you find the right answers. However, this method could take a lot of time and effort. Instead of calculating the answer by yourself, you could use a powerful Microsoft Excel 2010 tool called What-If Analysis. This feature makes it easier to experiment with your data. In this lesson, we'll show you how to use what-if analysis to answer different kinds of questions. What-if analysis. Microsoft Excel 2010 includes many powerful tools to perform complex mathematical calculations, such as what-if analysis. This feature can help you experiment and answer questions with your data, even when the data is incomplete. In this lesson, you will learn how to use a what-if analysis tool called GoalSeek. GoalSeek. Whenever you create a formula or function in Microsoft Excel 2010, you put various parts together to calculate a result. GoalSeek works in the opposite way. It lets you start with the desired result and it calculates the input value that will give you that result. We'll use a couple of examples to show how to use GoalSeek. To use GoalSeek, example 1. Imagine that you're enrolled in a class. You currently have a grade of 65 and you need at least a 70 to pass the class. Luckily, you have one final assignment that might be able to raise your average. You can use GoalSeek to find out what grade you need in the final assignment to pass the class. In the image below, you can see the grades on the first 4 assignments are 58, 70, 72, and 60. Even though we don't know what the 5th grade will be, we can go ahead and write a formula, a function, that calculates the final grade. In this case, each assignment is weighted equally, so all we have to do is average all 5 grades by typing equal to average of B2 colon B6. Once we use GoalSeek, cell B6 will show us the maximum grade that we'll need to make on that assignment. 1. Select the cell whose value you wish to change. Whenever you use GoalSeek, you'll need to select a cell that already contains a formula or function. In our example, we'll select cell B7 because it contains the formula equal to average B2 colon B6. 2. From the Data tab, click the What If Analysis command and then select Goal Seek from the drop-down menu. 3. A dialog box will appear with the three fields. Set cell. The cell that will contain the desired result. In our example, cell B7 is already selected. To value the desired result. In our example, we'll enter 70 because we need to earn at least that to pass the data. By changing cell. The cell where Goal Seek will place its answer. In our example, we'll select cell B6 because we want to determine the grade we need to earn on the final assignment. 4. When you're done, click OK. 5. The dialog box will tell you if Goal Seek was able to find a solution. Click OK. 6. The result will appear in the specified cell. In our example, Goal Seek calculated that we will need to score at least a 90 on the final assignment to earn a passing grade. Goal Seek Example 2. Suppose you need a loan to buy a new car. You already know that you want a loan amount of Rs 20,000, a 60-month term, the length of time it takes to pay off the loan, and a payment of not more than Rs 400 a month. However, you're not sure yet what the interest rate is going to be. In the image below, you can see that interest rate is left blank, and payment is Rs 333.33. That's because the payment is being calculated by a specialized function called the PMT, payment function, and Rs 333.33 is what the monthly payment would be if there were no interest. Rs 20,000 divided by 60 monthly payments. If we type different values into the empty interest rate cell, we would eventually find the value that causes payment to be Rs 400. And that would be the highest interest rate that we could afford. However, Goal Seek can do this automatically by starting with the result and working backward. To insert the PMT function, 1. Select the cell where you want the function to be. 2. From the Formula tab, select the Financial command. 3. A drop-down menu will appear showing all finance-related functions. Scroll down and select the PMT function. 4. A dialog box will appear. 5. Enter the desired values and or cell references into the different fields. In this example, we are only using rate and per, the number of payments, and PV, the loan amount. 6. Click OK. The result will appear in the selected cell. Note that this is not our final result as we still don't know what the interest rate will be. To use Goal Seek to find the interest rate. Now that we've added the PMT function, we can use Goal Seek to find the interest rate that we will need. 1. From the Data tab, click the What If Analysis command. 2. Select Goal Seek. 3. A dialog box will appear containing three fields. Set cell. This is the cell that will contain the desired result, in this case, the monthly payment. In this example, we will set it to B5. It doesn't matter whether it's an absolute or relative reference. To value. This is the desired result. We'll set it to minus 400. Since we're making a payment that will be subtracted from our loan amount, we have to enter the payment as a negative number by changing cell. This is the cell where Goal Seek will place its answer. In this case, the interest rate. We'll set it to B4. 4. When you're done, click OK. The dialog box will tell you whether or not Goal Seek was able to find a solution. In this example, the solution is 7.42%, and it has been placed in cell B4. This tells us that a 7.42% interest rate will give us Rs 400 a month payment on a Rs 20,000 loan that is paid off over 5 years or 60 months.